Hey, is this thing on? Is it on? Is anybody out there? Oh, oh, Hello, everybody. Jeff Kravitz, 420 Live. Welcome, everybody. Tuesday edition, 1 week. We have 1 week left. You know what you have to do in 1 week? Right here. Where is it? Yeah, right there. So you got my little vote badge on, my little head count vote badge on. I'm wearing it everywhere I go. Yesterday, I went down to my ballot box right around the corner here from my office in Santa Monica on 26th of Virginia. And there was a family and they had the kids and they were dropping the ballots and taking Instagram pictures. And as I'm dropping it in the slot, this girl comes in her car going, woo-hoo-hoo, with her windows open, all excited to vote. And I'm like, what world are we living in? And, you know, the thought crosses my mind, and I don't know, maybe it's crossed your mind too, that maybe in some weird way, America is greater now, 4 years later. Maybe he lived up to his promise. Maybe he made America great again because he made people care and he made people vote and he's made the biggest turnout maybe in the history of elections to come vote this year. There could be some turnout in some states that could be 80%. This is absolutely mind-boggling when you think about it. It's just hard to wrap your head around that here this guy ends up making America great again in the most weirdest way. And it was painful the past 4 years. But look, people care. People are stepping up. People are getting involved. And that, I think, is really important. And it's a new era. And I hate the pandemic. I hate kind of what it's done to my life, but in some ways it's allowing me to rewire my life for a new existence. So I'm working on it, and that's why we're here today. That's why you've been coming here now for 33 weeks. 33 motherfucking weeks that we've been locked up, sent out of our existence. I mean, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. I've done 160 shows. You know, I just can't even, it's hard to even catch your breath to understand what's going on and to try to wrap your head around it. But we know what we have to do and we know we're stepping up and it's exciting. It's a very exciting time. I really feel like I'm watching a soap opera and we're heading to a finale. Like this to me is more exciting even than the finale of Game of Thrones because this really changes things. The next 4 years are really going to be changed by what happens next week. So it's kind of like with Game of Thrones, you kind of knew it was the end of an era. So last show, you're looking for the story all to wrap up. This story is not wrapping up. This story is just moving on to the next chapter because we're all involved. But I will say some of the best reality show programming I've ever seen in my life where you want to tune into the news every day to see what the hell happened yesterday because things are happening so fast and furious. And I don't know if you caught Obama's speech today, but he was talking about how we won't be hearing from our president every day. And I kind of like that idea. I like the idea that they're going to be too busy working to be tweeting 50 times a day and watching cable news and responding to every criticism that everybody has. Hard to imagine. I can't imagine if you went through life just telling people that they're wrong, everything they think about you all the time. I mean, I've ruined my energy. I just let people think they're right. I think that's the way to go about it. You don't want to fight too much. I mean, come on. But Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive, you're not allowed to walk on it or drive on it the day before the election and the day after the election. They're boarding up all the windows. They're getting ready for Armageddon. Like election day is going to be Armageddon. And, you know, LA is a big place. I don't even know where these people would start. And, but it's not encouraging when you hear people talking about how much they don't want to lose, but you got to admit that the passion's back. People are very passionate about the vote. I never thought it would happen before. Again, I never thought I would see this kind of engagement in our lives. But here we are, we're engaged. And here I am distracting and taking you away from all of the little things that for a little while we're going away. And today we're going away with Leslie Mendelson. And Leslie's a singer, songwriter. She has a brand new video out today. We're going to watch the video. We're going to all come together is the name of the video. And we're going to hear Leslie play a couple songs. And I have her sitting backstage here. We've already had a lot of fun today. I want to introduce you to Leslie Mendelson. Leslie Mendelson, welcome to 420 Live.
Hi.
How are you?
You're on fire.
And that's with no coffee. I mean, I had my coffee earlier today.
I know, it's kind of late already.
Yeah, you're like 7 o'clock. Are you on the East Coast?
Yes.
So it's
Yeah,
7:20.
It's
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, I did. I was on the East Coast this summer for about almost 2 months, and I did my show from there. And it's just a very different time around 7:20 there than 4:20 here. So
yeah. It's dark and cold here in New York.
Winter's coming, huh? How is New York?
You had a nice Game of Thrones reference before.
Wait,
winter is coming.
Don't you think it's kind of true that we're waiting for the finale of some big thing coming up? Doesn't it feel like that?
That was the worst finale ever. But we're not going to get into that because I don't know how many people watch it or not. But that was horrible. It was a horrible ending to the show. Yes, we're all waiting. I know, like what you said. I think it's going to be bad either way. I'm just bracing myself, whether he wins, whether, he gets elected again or not. It's just going to be like it's going to be like an Eagles game or something in Philly, like where everybody, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. It's just pandemonium.
They're going to tear it up.
I'm bracing myself for that kind of energy.
Do you have Philadelphia roots?
No. They're the most lunatic team though in the state, aren't they?
Their fan base is very rabid, but you win or lose, they want to cause trouble. We're in the upside down. What were you? I mean, you have been like looking through. You opened up for the Who. You've been on the road. You've been on a roll. You had your whole everything ready to go. Where were you when you got this bad news that your life was going to take a pause?
Pause. Yeah, that's what we call it in New York. That's where I guess we call it everywhere. But I don't remember what I was doing that day. But there was like so many great things that were kind of just happening, and it was just gearing up for a record, there was a really good date in New York that was coming up. I was supposed to do Carnegie Hall, part of a Carly Simon tribute, which I've, never played Carnegie Hall before. So that was exciting, but that was like, oh, not happening. And
the City Winery, is that the thing that they did that Michael?
Yeah. And so that plus there was just besides, and the 3 more gigs with the Who, in April, and then the record's coming out. We just thought it was just good with touring, whatever. But I love doing live streams from my bedroom.
Well, one of the things we talked about is how you've become proficient on the technological end, or these are things you never thought you'd have to learn, and skills you never thought you'd have to have. I mean, How much educating did you have to do?
I mean, it's like, I still feel like it's a learning curve. We were like, right before we went on, I was like, shit, the phone doesn't work. So you throw up your computer. But I'm glad that things, you got some backup stuff. I got a little ring light. I want to get a bigger one though.
A bigger ring light?
Better. You got to make yourself look as good as possible. I don't know. It's just, I got a little height mic. So I got,
And are your live streams, are you doing them from home, I guess? Right.
I've done tons of them this year from home already. I did my album release party at home. And then I started working from a studio once things started getting a little better over the summer. I started doing stuff at Restoration Sound where I recorded my record, and that sounded good. Those were some of the live streams from there. The sound went, we took it up a notch. And then this Thursday, in 2 days, we're actually doing a show at the City Winery. And we're going to do a live stream from there. And then we're doing limited seating there because they're doing 25%. So you can make dinner reservations now. So we might even have a little bit of a crowd. It's a little weird.
Is that what's happening? 25% capacity, and it has to be food oriented, right? They have to be
food oriented. It's so but it's a live stream. So that's, I guess that's how we're getting away with it. But, what do you call it? It's a really big space. So I don't.
This is the brand new City Winery that Michael's been working on. Disney went and bought the old land for the old City Winery.
Yeah.
And they're building all this office space they might not need, really.
Yeah.
And now Michael's moved over to the pier, right? Is it?
Yep. Yeah, it's on 16th Street and 11th. Or West Side Highway, the pier.
And how have you
been there a couple weeks ago? It's gorgeous and it's huge. I mean, it's 3 times the size of the other place. They did such a good job on it. So, they're making it work now. Doing a little bit of music and keeping the dinner going. So,
have you played there yet?
No, this is going to be the first time on Thursday.
Is this going to be your Is this your first official gig in a venue since this all started?
In a venue, yeah. I've done a couple of like outdoor things over the summer. Then a few weeks ago, I did something. Those have been great. And then we did something in Brooklyn last week at a spa in the garden. It was nice, like these little things. They're great. People are appreciative. You come out, you're like, ah.
Well, it's something we used to take for granted that there would be 50 acts playing every night all over New York City and all over LA, and you could go see who you wanted. And now it's become such a treasure to go see someone perform and it's so hard to figure out where you're going to see them because everybody's shell shocked. How's the atmosphere in New York City?
I mean, it's mixed. I think for the most part, people are respectful. They're wearing their masks. I've been taking the subway here and there. It's okay, but then there's pockets of people that just don't care, and people are going to do what they want. And that sucks. They're making it worse for everyone.
It just seems interesting to me that it comes from the religious areas, that it's the religions that are kind of revolting about this, which is
I don't get it. It's upsetting when I don't like it, but whatever.
I never thought we'd be so polarized that the Jews would be rioting and throwing rocks.
They'll wear it up here, but they won't wear it there.
You cover your head, but not
your head. It down a little bit. It's not a big deal.
You get one that does both, it attaches to your head and to your mouth. So what's it like releasing new music? What's it like releasing new music in a time like this?
I don't know. Actually, it wasn't so bad because I remember like a few weeks before I released my record, Dylan released that really long, amazing, epic song, Murder Most Foul.
Yeah.
And I was just like, thank you, Bob, for releasing this now, because maybe if there wasn't a pandemic, I mean, I always hope I have enough time to listen to Bob Dylan, but to like drop a 20-minute single, I was like, that's great. But, people are just home. I remember just listening to it and I was like, all right, maybe it is okay to release a record now because people have the time to listen to it. Yeah, I can't go out and support it, but I'm glad that I released it because people, I think you need art. You'll always need art and music, and just because you can't do the way. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't ideal the way it came out, but I'm still glad it came out.
And how about building your fan base? Do you find that you're able to engage with them more now that you're a captive audience and not running to the bus or running to the gig, or you're just kind of hanging out? So if somebody shoots you a text, you're like, I kind of should answer this. Yeah. I'm not doing anything else.
I mean, I've always tried to be as personable as possible. I don't really have much to hide, and it's just like, I'm here, we're hanging, so unless you're like crazy and I don't feel like getting back to you, most of the time I respond.
Well, there's the crazies too. I mean, that goes.
I try to like weed them out a little bit.
It goes hand in hand in the business. People get really obsessive. I'm your biggest fan. I try to tell my kids about Misery. I'm like, you got to watch that movie Misery. Did you ever see that with James Caan?
Oh, of course.
Just check.
Classic.
So your new single, tell us about it. Well, let's watch the video and then we'll talk about it. How about that?
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, I thought you were going to play later. It's quite long.
Is it quite? How long is it?
It's like 4 minutes.
Should we do 2?
Play a little bit of it.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
We're play a little bit of Leslie's new video here. Hold on, let me find the button.
It's a lyric video. My friend Darren Nay made it.
Shine on, let me be the one, let me be the one who lights you up. Shine on me, you can be the one, you can be the one who sets me free, yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. strike it up. You can be the one. You can be the one who never gets enough. It'll all come together if we want it. It'll all come together if we do. It'll all come together if we want it. It'll all come together if we do. Rise up and sing. You can be the one. You can be the one who holds the key. Just stand your ground. You can be the one. You can be the one who turns it all around. Yeah. It'll all come together if we want it. It'll all come together if we do. Yeah. It'll all come together if we want it. It'll all come together if we do. Whatever you want, it'll come around. There'll never be a wall that you can't break down.
I love it. I wanted to get the bridge in there before I cut it, and it was great.
It's a fun song.
Coming together is something that's been a theme of music for a long time.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of like this country. I'm like, oh.
Well, obviously, what's happening, it comes out through your music, right? As an artist, and this is the message for the time.
Absolutely.
And do you feel it? Do you feel that we're all coming together, or do you feel that it's getting divisive as hell?
It's bad.
It's bad, right?
Yeah. But you said it before that I think that there is a movement that young people and people that maybe weren't so engaged in politics are getting out there. They realize how personally it affects people. And so I think that's good. There is inspiration there. And if anything, it's just made people more passionate. But yeah, there's a big problem with it's really hard to have a conversation with people that are, have different views than you. And I feel like maybe at some point there was, or even in different countries where there, two sides of the political views, it's just not as polarizing as it is here. It's just a little more civil. Even if you don't agree with each other, it just seems like it's completely just on the end of the spectrum. So
yeah, I've never not wanted to talk to so many people ever again in all my life.
Yeah, it's weird. I know.
And I've really written off a lot of relationships I had over the years when you realize that people don't grow. I mean, I don't know how people can look at this situation and see anything redeeming about it or anything that they want to continue. Like you want this. Obama said something today. You wouldn't raise your kids to behave like this man's behaving. Why would you let someone like that run the country? And I was like, wow. How true is that? I mean, we're always trying to teach our kids to do the right thing and to be nice and be respectful and to care about people with disabilities and to look at people equally and not judge people on their skin color. These are all the lessons that I teach my kids that I was taught from my dad. And it's just interesting that now you with somebody up there that's trying to teach so much hate. So,
no, yeah, he's awful, and I hope he goes away. But he's not going anywhere. I fear. I don't want it to. I'm so angry, and this is nice. Let's just keep it nice.
I'll keep it nice. Yeah, I don't want to get.
Everyone knows. I don't think anyone's undecided anymore. So
no, I don't. They're still trying. It's unbelievable. Hey, yes, I agree. Not here for that, but it is interesting that we're in such a crazy time and how we're all glued to what's going on and involved and engaged, which I think is a good thing that we're engaged. Because we were losing, we were becoming incredibly self-absorbed. Not that we aren't now with the Instagrams and the influencers and all this stuff, but it's funny to see that it's coming around. Everything comes around in life. And I never thought the problems from the 60s would come back again 50,
Right.
60 years later, but here we are. And thank God we have, it's inspiring, because it's inspiring to you to write music that might be more meaningful. Where normally you're like, okay, where's my inspiration coming from? Because I'm on the road and I'm traveling and I'm seeing another hotel, I'm seeing another venue, and your experiences kind of are very, did you find that in life?
Yeah. Well, like the record that, we made, it's a lot of the topics are to do with the way I feel about, it's just social commentary, the way I feel about the 24-hour news cycle, or all the social media and the anxiety that I get from a lot of that. We wrote about that. Steve McEwen, my co-writer, we wrote these songs, and, we talk about, there's a song called "Would You Give Up Your Gun" that, we talk about, and it's not even just about like, gun violence. It's about, how far does it have to, for things to change, it has to really affect somebody. And it's again about talking, like not being able to communicate with each other. And, that's that song. And, All Come Together and all these songs, they're just feelings that I've had about just life in general. And then the pandemic happens. We're like, wow, you can almost relate to some of these songs in this situation now. Like there's a song called "I Need Something to Care About." And, I think, I don't know if I know I'm not alone here. And, you lose your job, you lose, even when you have passions, I feel like it's been hard to get inspired about things. And you're like looking, like the days are long, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with myself? And, like trying to find passion, trying to find purpose in things. So, that was stuff we were singing about that could be related to what's going on now too.
And you can't say anything nice.
Well, that's kind of sarcastic too. That's a double-edged sword, because it's like, obviously we have so much vitriol, and you hearing these things coming out of, whether it's just not even just the president, just all around. There's just, I can't believe some of the things that you hear. And then there's also I've never considered myself a very PC person. I just have a sense of humor, and I like to joke about things. And sometimes it's really hard to make jokes without offending everybody. So that's kind of the title. And it's just touching on both those.
Well, it's true now, because everybody is so offended so easily. I've never seen such thin skin.
It's very sensitive, but it's also, then there's the other side that's so offensive. So it's like, there's just, you can't say anything.
Right. You can't. You're afraid you're going to insult somebody somewhere along the line. Like even comedy, it's just like the comedy used to be so pointed, and they used to be, now it's comedians get shit for saying jokes. And like Lenny Bruce got arrested back in the day, and these comics had to break a lot of ground to be able to say anything. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, you can't. You got to watch what you say when you go on, because you lose your whole career.
Well, yeah, there's the whole cancel culture, but then thank God for Dave Chappelle, because I think he's like a hero. I've been watching a lot of his stand up, and it's just so poignant, and he speaks his mind, and he tells the truth, and he's so funny. And I just thank God for Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, but he lost his mind and walked away from it all in the middle of a huge, successfully hit show, and had to go into seclusion, and all this stuff starts getting to you, I think, and that was way before any of this.
Yeah, he talks about on the Letterman special. He talks about that bit. That's really good too.
There's a lot of people out there that are.
Yeah, but to get back to your thing, it is hard. And so, people have to be brave. And I think it's about how you say it and what you're saying and thinking about it, because, you have to be thoughtful about it.
It's an important time to be an artist. How do you stay alive as an artist? How are you increasing and paying for the things you used to pay from being on the road?
I was just thinking today, I'm like laughing at myself, like, what job why did I choose this? But I just can't believe this is my life. And I know a lot of artists are feeling that way, like, now what? But we're getting by. Like, we're making it work. You got to make it work. You got to adapt. It's okay. It's okay. So
And we're going to get
right.
we're going to get back to it, right? I mean, you're going to get back to it. If you're open at 25,
we're doing it Thursday a little bit.
I mean,
it's not going to be packed, but there'll be people there. It's okay. It's like slowly, hopefully getting back. This winter might be a complete shit show. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, I guess I saw you played Rockwood Music Hall quite a bit, and I know that place is so tiny.
Yeah.
That's 10 people.
Like
is
4 people, and that'll be it.
And that's what's hard about New York City is the place has so many of those small little intimate venues that are just going to get beat up. I mean, that's the problem with our independent venues now across America. Everybody is having a very hard time, and now our government has gone away until the week after the election before they come back. So they're out for the next 2 weeks. So they're not going to pass any kind of stimulus bill or anything for any of us. It's great, right?
Awesome.
I'm so mad. I really am. I hold it in, but
do you?
Well, I let loose. At the same time, I hold it. I was just arguing with an old schoolmate of mine. I'm from Atlantic City, New Jersey, is where I grew up, and I watched that whole town get trashed by Donald Trump. And my friends that are there, that are my age now, support him. Black, white, whatever it is, they're all like Trumpers, and I'm like, how can you be? I just don't get it. So I'm arguing with people, and they're like, well, I didn't vote for him. I voted for Joe Jorgensen. And I'm like, that's not the way it works, fella. Sorry. That's something my mom would say. I didn't vote for him. I voted for me. Arg. You know what? I think we need a little music.
Okay.
Leslie's
it's just gone beyond. It's just we're on the same, it's like preaching to the choir.
I know it is. We're on the same page here because we're all the artists that are affected by this. So we're the ones sitting here going, okay, where's our next gig? What are we going to do? What song are you going to play for us?
This is a song off of my record, If You Can't Say Anything Nice. And during the summer, since I was doing a lot of these kind of shows and we didn't have a band to tour with, or even, I usually, we were thinking, why not do these songs in an acoustic way? So I kind of had to rethink the arrangements. And then we made a little EP called In the Meantime, where we stripped down some of the songs and recorded. So this is a song off of If You Can't Say Anything Nice, but this is done in the acoustic way.
All right.
So I'm going to do that.
Leslie Mendelson, ladies and gentlemen.
It's called Lay It All on Me.
I don't want to shut you out. I only want to let you in. I don't want to get you down. I only want to see you win. And I don't want to hang you up. And I don't want to watch you fall. So lay it all on me, on me. Lay it all on me, on me. I just wanna ease your pain. Beat the hammer through these walls. Anything that I can say to make your fears feel so small. So lay it all on me, on me. And lay it all on me, on me. lay it all. Mm. When you need somebody, just call my name, call my name. When you need someone, you know I'll be there. I'll be there to lay it all. Come on, lay it all. Lay it all on me.
Love it. Beautiful voice.
Thanks.
Who's your influence? What's your influences?
Everyone.
Everyone?
Everyone. All the greats.
What made you pick up the guitar?
Probably the Beatles. I mean, you probably hear it from that. I'm a huge Beatles fan. Just and growing up, just wearing those records out and learning how to play the piano from the Beatles. And
Yeah, because the Beatles was not a good band to play guitar to.
no, I played piano. Well, my first instrument's piano.
Oh, it's piano. So you write on piano. Is that why you had to figure out how to play it to acoustic?
That too, yes.
So when you write to piano.
Sometimes guitar too, but yeah. But piano was my first first love. So
Well, it's really funny because I'm sitting there and I'm like, this sounds like something I can't put my finger on it. And then you just said the Beatles, and I'm like, yes.
influences.
Well, come on, it's everybody's influence, I think, right?
Yeah. But they're all the greats, Joni Mitchell, Carole King, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, the good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you were able to absorb, but you're MTV generation, right? So you grew up with all that the hair bands too. Did any of that seem true?
Well, I do love a power ballad.
You did love power ballad?
It's strong. Yeah.
Every rose has its thorn, or
I mean, I'm sure I'm not alone going down the Van Halen rabbit hole.
Well, didn't I see that you posted something about Eddie? Did you post something about Eddie?
It's so sad. I mean, and I loved him, and I love that band. And I mean, there's a lot of great 80s music. It's, great songs throughout. I love pop music too. I love,
Yeah, well, Van Halen was just a good time party band. They were there for the party.
Yeah.
On stage, off stage, backstage, everywhere.
Good times.
Yeah, and a lot of things they did back in the day, they'd be arrested for now. The Me Too, that whole with the groupies.
Well, that's gone back to the 60s. I don't know.
Well, no, Van Halen. Oh, with the groupies, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I mean, nobody was, Zeppelin. Yeah, it's famous.
No, well, actually, yeah, Zeppelin. But Frank Zappa had the GTOs, which was the all-girl band. That was Pamela DeBar. It was all the groupies he put together in a band back in the day. I know way too much. I grew up in Jersey, but I learned about the California culture really fast. Especially, I was a huge Zappa fanatic growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, which much more weirder compositionally, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like Zappa. I had a Zappa phase. I knew every song off Joe's Garage. I love that album.
That's a great that album about mind control. That's a great another one about society, the fall of society. There was all these great Idiocracy. Have you seen that movie?
No, and I keep meaning to.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
That's right up your alley. Your sense of humor. I'm sure you love Mike Judge to begin with, but
I do.
That's good stuff. So you have the new video out. You have the new record came out. When did it come out?
So If You Can't Say Anything Nice came out in April. And then in the meantime, the acoustic EP, we released that at Bandcamp. So actually, I think there's a Bandcamp coming up. And that's great because they let all the proceeds go right to the artist. So that was a good way to just put something out, make a little money. But we started releasing songs on Spotify or all the streaming sites. So you can go and I have a version of John Martin, British singer-songwriter, John Martin's Head and Heart. I do a version of that. And that's up on the streaming sites now. So.
Yeah, and I listened to your "Be My Baby" was the first thing I heard when I woke up today, because I was just like, all right, let's play the Spotify. Actually, I watched the video first. I did see the video.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about one of California's favorite sons, Jackson Browne, and how that guy came into your life.
Wow. So I met him. Well, I was doing a house party in Brooklyn, and at the end of my set, Paul Haggis, the director, came up to me and really liked what I was doing. And he's like, I have a new movie. I'd love to have an original song for it. Would you be interested in, doing something? Also, I'm friends with Jackson Browne. Would you be interested in collaborating with him? And I'm like, yeah, okay, call me. I didn't think much of it, but it happened. And Steve McEwen and I were watching. We started to sketch out the song, and we gave it to Jackson, and we got together in New York and finished it. And then it got released in the movies called 5B, and it's a beautiful documentary about the beginning of the AIDS epidemic and the nurses and the doctors who worked in the first AIDS ward. And it's about the relationship between them and the patients. And it's beautiful. It's hard, but it's a beautiful movie. And right around the time the song came out, the movie came out, and then Jackson was doing his Beacon Theater residency in New York. And he invited me to do that. And then that turned from like one day to a week. And then I went on tour with him for the rest of the summer. So
he's a great guy, right?
Yeah, he's Jackson Browne. It's like, how you think he's chill, he's cool, yeah.
Did you know the story about Jackson, like what happened, like with his career, like how he got discovered?
Specifically, like what do you got?
Well, that the person at the record label had thrown away the photograph and the cassette in the trash, and his assistant went to empty the trash and saw the photograph and was like, "Who the hell's this?" And then put the tape in and listened to it, and then took it back to her boss and was like, "You can't throw this away."
Oh wow! No, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yanked out of the trash can, because back in those days, Jackson with the long hair, I mean, that look was something else, right? He was like mystique. But in those days, you didn't really have the avenues that we have today, the streaming, the YouTubes. If the label didn't like what you were doing, then your career kind of became like whatever you could do localized, because you didn't have anybody that was, saying how great you were or recording your music. So saved from the trash can.
That's great.
It's crazy. And how about the Who? What's that like? I mean, because that has to be such a crazy scene.
Well, I had met Roger when I was living in London, because I was managed by Trinifold, who manages the Who and has been for years. And I was working with them about, 2012. I'd met Roger. And then when I was living back here in the States, they asked me to open up for him when he did a solo tour. Well, not really solo, him without Pete. It's basically
right. It was like orchestra, right? Orchestrated.
What?
Was it orchestra? Him doing?
Not that one. No, it was just basically the Who band without Pete.
Gotcha.
It's like Roger's show, and he does, but he does stuff from the Who and his solo career. And that was a theater tour, and so we did 3 tours, Steve and I, and and I got a call one day. They were coming to the Garden, and they were like, "Do you want to open for the Who at the Garden?" And I'm like, "Why?" I think I just said why, because I was so confused. I'm like, "Why would you want like a solo kind of? It's the Who, like a rock band or something." But they were like, "Well, we just want an acoustic act. We were thinking New York. We'd love to have you." And I get along really well with the crew. They're family because I've known them for a while, so it was amazing. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I've never felt more feelings at one time doing those shows. Like you're excited, you're happy, you're scared, you're upset. Like it was like everything.
Yeah, you wanted to laugh, cry, and probably
all of it. It was all of it. Like, what am I doing? And then they invited us back to do it again. So that was nice in September. So did twice.
So what's your configuration when you played the Garden? As far
so
as
the first time it was both times it was me and Steve and I played the acoustic, he played electric. The second time I played acoustic plus my Wurlitzer, and then he played electric.
Do you go out with a full band?
I have, but it's mostly, I do a lot of duos and trios, and sometimes it depends, but I love playing with a band as well.
Of course, because you can groove, right?
Rock out. We get to soft rock out.
And how about the Garden itself? Like, it was probably a sold out Who show at the Garden, so it's not like
and we had a pretty good crowd for an opener and acoustic. I mean, even our rockier stuff, it's still acoustic.
Right.
But it was amazing that it was cool. People were really attentive.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's got to be. I mean, was that even on your list of things to do, like open for the Who or play the Garden?
Play the Garden. I think it's on everybody's bucket list, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. So that was good.
And then also opening for a major band too is on your.
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely cool.
I like that. And a different generation too. Do you find it generates fans? Like, do you find that does it translate?
A little bit. Not like a ton, but got some love.
Yeah, people. I'm sure you have a unique voice and unique styling, so I'm sure people are like, this is cool. Like Paul Haggis. I mean, he's that guy's used a lot of music over the years in his movies, so that's a real compliment to be able to
absolutely
catch someone like that at a place. What's the future hold?
Well, let's get through this winter and hopefully just kind of pick up where we left off. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. And sometimes I get upset not knowing. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm just,
we all have to roll with it, right? We don't really have
to. I don't know what's going to happen in a week or two. Nobody does. It's weird time. So the only thing you can do is roll with it, breathe. I mean, I'm trying to, music's my job, it's my passion, my life, but I also am trying to do some other things to make myself sane.
Because you find that when you're not totally immersed, like with me, with my photography, I'm not immersed in that world right now. I really have to, I haven't even picked up the camera. I think I had one job in the past 7 months, and it's not the kind of thing where I go sports shooting. I play more guitar than I've been playing, than I've been shooting, because it's just more, it gets more out of me. You know, photography is a hard way to get your yayas out. You know? I mean, it's not really like, you have to be concentrated. You're behind a camera. But when you're behind a guitar, you're behind a piano, it's a different release. So there's a different amount of energy. I played in a friend of mine's backyard this past Saturday night. It's the third time I've played since the pandemic started. And you literally feel like, why isn't this happening all the time? I mean, in California, there's going to be a lot more of the outdoor and the shows because we have the weather that more temperate, and we're not at 25% here. They will not let anybody inside. There's no indoor dining or anything like that. So it's kind of crazy. How often do you write, and is it a conscious decision, or are you just like sitting there and all of a sudden you're like, oh, pick up the phone and...
Well, I always I have ideas here and there, so I jot them down. And then I always feel like there's a time where you're like, all right, I got to make a new record and start focusing a little bit more. So
do you find yourself more inspired right now or less?
Less.
I
just honestly, it's harder. It's harder when, I don't know, when there's not a lot of stuff to focus on, I guess. And you're like, I don't want to say what's the point, but I mean, I get pretty dark about it sometimes.
Well, it's not, the longer you think about it and the more you get into what we're really going through and how we're going to come out of this is the really big question, is how do we come out of this?
Yeah.
And when, and what is normal, and are we ever getting back to any kind of normal? I mean, are we ever going to go to venues? We took so many things for granted, like going to Madison Square Garden at the drop of a hat. Hey, or even turning down a ticket to go to Madison Square Garden if you weren't feeling it that night. You'd be like,
yeah. But I mean, there's still ways to create, and you gotta, sometimes the one thing that I can take away from all of this is sometimes when we are taking things for granted and you're in that kind of wheel of like every day is always the same, and then something like this happens and it kind of blows it up, like it's an upsetter, and it makes you rethink things, and you have to rethink the wheel, and it makes you uncomfortable. So it's like, this is a growing time for growing, as frustrating as it is, and sometimes I don't want to do anything. So, but when I really sit back and think about it, I'm like, it's things sometimes just change in itself is good, and not saying this pandemic has been good. I mean, we all would have been better off, obviously, without it. It's devastating.
Well,
but
it's realigned our world, and it's made us stop and focus. And I really think one thing I'm sure this has happened to you, where something happens in your life and you think it's the worst thing that ever happened in your life. And then when you look back at it 4 or 5 years later, you realize that it was a crossroad and it made you go in a different direction than you were intending to go. And it actually, if that didn't happen, then something that was positive that wouldn't have happened on the other side. Yeah. So it's hard when you're in it, because it does feel really shitty. And I agree. It feels like the worst thing ever. But I also think that we have to realign our relationship with the planet and with each other, because we could see what's happening. And there has been nothing else to make us stop to do this.
Right. Yes. So it happened, and now we're dealing. Yeah.
I'm hoping there's a positive in it. I think there's a positive in everything that happens. And I hate to say that, because we were having so much fucking fun. I mean, my summer was so loaded. I'm sure yours was too. You had all this great stuff planned and all these fun things. Oh, well. Don't cry over spilled milk. How do people tune into your stream at City Winery? What format are you using?
Mandolin.
Okay.
And you can go. We're gonna have it. That's a really good question. Well, there's links everywhere. Like, you can get tickets off of like my website, and then Instagram. I have links, and Facebook.
And I'm actually sharing on our comments. I'm sharing the City Winery link to Leslie.
That's the best way to do it.
Yes, that way everybody can figure it out on their own.
It's easy.
Yeah, and how long do you play?
75 minutes.
Great.
Do piano, guitar. Steve's gonna play as well. So we're play the hits.
You play the hits. You already have your set list worked out. You know what you're doing.
Definitely. Well, like, there's a little bit of wiggle room, but I've been working on it.
And what's the reception like from the crowds? What do you think that's going to be like?
What'd you say?
You think you're going to cry when you're up there at some point? Do you think it's going to get you?
Have you seen me cry?
No.
I've been known to cry.
I've been known to cry?
I think there was one time I was so overwhelmed. I think it was like the first live stream I did, and I just got emotional. I just started crying, because it was like, oh my God, because we hadn't seen people in a while, and like people were tuning in, and I'm like, oh, I know. But it was I don't. Who knows? I can't. You never know.
You never know. Well, it's great that you're out there doing what you're doing. I love the new song, the video, your music. It was a pleasure getting to know your music. When we talked this morning, I was studying up and doing my listening, because I love to be able to immerse myself in who I'm going to interview. And you have a very unique touch. And now that you say the Beatles, a lot of it makes sense to me, because you hear the melodic influence from the Beatles. And they, like I said, they weren't an easy band. Like when I was a kid, I had the Beatles songbook, and I had my guitar. And trying to play some of those chords on guitar literally broke my fingers. And I'm like, I can't.
It's much better. And it also helps to have like a really great songwriting partner. So I'll give it up to Steve McEwen.
That's great. How long you guys been together?
We've been working together for about 10 years.
Wow.
Maybe a little more. Something like that.
Well, very good. Well, keep up the good work. It was really a pleasure getting to talk to you. Do you have anything you want to say to everybody out there?
Just vote. Everybody's probably, doing it already, but it's going to be interesting. So get out and vote. Come see the show on Thursday, or if you're in New York, make a dinner reservation. They might, it's not going to be that many people, or do it online. And if you're not in New York, say hi online. Well,
I really look forward to getting back to New York and seeing you at City Winery, one of my favorite venues in New York City. I love the Dorff family. Old friends of mine, and nice. Say hi to Michael for me. And I actually shot one of those Carnegie Hall shows for him when he did the David Bowie tribute a couple years ago. I came out to shoot that, And there's
cool.
a very unique night of music in an amazing venue. And I hope you get to play that show.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear that. Thank you, Leslie. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Take care. Great. Leslie Mendelson, thank you. Another day, another 50 cents. We are moving and grooving and getting ready. And you heard Leslie say it right there. See, right here, vote. And Nina asked me where I got my pin. My friends from Headcount sent me my nice vote t-shirt, and they enclosed the pin. I also have a cannabis voter pin here somewhere too that I like to wear. I've never been so gung-ho about voting in years. Maybe since Nixon, got impeached. That's how old I am. I remember that. I wanted to impeach President Nixon. I was 13 years old. My mom told me I had to take the impeach Nixon sticker off of my jacket. You can't wear that. I'm like, come on, impeach Nixon. What a world, folks. What a world. What a world when a normally affable celebrity photographer turns into webcaster for you all to come in every day, introduce you to some very, very cool people. And I want to thank Leslie for coming on today. It was great getting to talk to her. And you see the link in the comments to check out her live stream and check out her video and her Spotify. You'll thank me later. It happens all the time. People are hitting me up. Thank you for introducing me to your guests because they're really cool. Let's see. I have a couple things to tell you here. Where is it? I want to tell you about Headcount. My friends from Headcount who gave me this beautiful button. Headcount.org still has the information you need. It's too late. Actually, you know what? There are provisions available in different districts. If you forgot to register to vote or didn't register to vote, you can register to vote up until the election, I heard on the radio the other day. So make sure you research that out and see if you didn't register, get yourself registered. This is the time. You don't want to be said that you sat out the 2020 election. Come on, get your eye, vote. And Krispy Kreme's giving out free donuts. I read that today. So get your Krispy Kreme, get out there, vote, 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 vote. And don't mail it in. That was something else Headcount's telling you. Do not mail it in because the mail's working really slow because Trump fucked it all up before he, this was a plan. It's all an evil plot. And the target is your pocketbook. So hold on to what's yours. Hold on to your cash because they're coming for it. They're not going to give you any more right now. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. We got Vince Herman on from Leftover Salmon. We had Al from Mo scheduled for Friday, and his father-in-law, I'm sorry to say, passed away. Our condolences to Al and his family. And Thursday, we're going to Cocktail Hour with Tip Top Cocktails. Our friend Neil and Yoni from Tip Top Cocktails are coming on. So lots of fun stuff. I might even have a cocktail on the air, which has never happened in 160 shows. You see me smoke weed here, but I have not had a drink because I can't handle it. Leslie, you still there? Can you do me? Will you play us out? Will you play us one more song? I'm still on the air, and I saw you sitting there, and I was like, wait, I still got a couple minutes left. Would you like to play another song before we go?
Oh, okay. I'll play a little. I'll play the Jack Brown song that we were talking about. I'll just do that. I'll play a verse and a chorus.
Here we go.
You can call it a decision. I say it's how we're made. There's no point in shouting from your island, proclaiming only Jesus saves. There will always be suffering. There will always be pain. But because of it, there'll always be love. And love, we know it will remain. Everybody gets lonely and feel like it's all too much. Reaching out for some connection, or maybe it's just their own reflection. Not everybody finds it, and not like the two of us, 'cause sometimes all anybody needs is a human touch. 'Cause Sometimes all anybody needs is a human touch.
Beautiful. And that is a perfect song for our times. We all need a little human touch right about now. Thanks, Leslie.
Bye.
Bye. See, I surprised her. She was just sitting there relaxing. Everybody, peace, love, and happiness. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Leslie. It's always an adventure here at 420 Live, folks. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. Take care. And thanks for tuning in. Have a good day. Oh, wait.